Any questions, guys, that you want to ask at this point? Yes?
Do you have issues with wildfire in the area where?
If I have issues with wildfire?
Yeah, like so if you've got grass standing for 18 months.
Yeah,
Like here in South Australia, there's a lot of pressure to remove fuel from the landscape.
Right.
To reduce fire risk.
Right.
And so if we're to kind of leave large amounts of grass for animals, we're also.
Right, I mean, there's always a risk for fire. We didn't used to get fires because we didn't have grass. Now it's become like a, but I think we need to see it like the whole thing, because I think a lot of fires we're having is because of the lack of grass. Like if you see the forests are having a lot of issues in the US, it's because we have been overprotecting the forests, and then there's a lot of this weak, because remember, nature is always trying to cover the soil with something. And because we haven't really managed those forests to have grasslands underneath, then you get this low moisture. And I have a study that I'm going to show you, low moisture. I don't know if any of you have heard the study in Siberia, these two Russian father and son that have been studying for years what's going on with the permafrost that is melting. Well, they concluded something quite interesting. They said that because it's thick forest there, but no grasslands, they said that the trees attract heat, but it's actually grasslands that used to keep that permafrost in place. So the crazy idea they have is to bring back the huge mammoths and bison but well, then let's go back to where we are with the forests, for example, in the western US. Too many trees, a lot of them are sick, there's not a healthy ecosystem, there's no grasslands. You got those dry storms because you got the thunder, you don't get the rain. Boom, I mean, just like explosion of big, horrible fires. So I think what we need is to do a better grazing on those forests. And that will, even though they have grass, right? Yeah. But they're also going to have moisture. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So did I try?
I'm sort of imagining like what my neighbours would think. I think, you know, like if I've got head-high grass and they have like they've reduced their land to just dust.
Yeah. Well, you know, there are also strategies. For example, you can use the livestock to create these areas that you will pound it there, the grass. So. Exactly. So I have some friends who actually graze like if it were like a checkboard, exactly. That they say, okay, if it fires, obviously on a big fires, then it will just be like jumping. But yeah, there are strategies. See, for example, I remember working with some people in Wyoming on a workshop, and they were like late 30s, early 40s, these guys, but they had their grandfather there. And I asked he was like 95 years old, and I asked him about what he used to do when there was a fire on his forest. And he told me, I didn't even get out of my chair. Why? Because the rain put it off. And that we don't have that anymore, you know. Fires, no rain, oh, big trouble. I mean the natural fires, not the ones that actually. For example, I was driving to my ranch before coming here, and I saw a big thunderstorm. Like, oh my God, like thunders are everywhere. And then I got to the ranch, and I asked my foreman, and he said, "Yeah, we have like 3 fires, but the rain, and that was it." So yeah, I think it's not a big deal as we are seeing it today, but because we have broken again the water cycle. Yeah. So let's talk about well, for example, this is a place that I remember when I was born in Chihuahua City, and we went to Texas for buying stuff. This is a place that I clearly remember when I was a kid that the grasses were like this. There were not anymore the grasses that the priests and Spaniards defined like this, but they were still like that. And now look at it. There was not a single woody plant here. And then this guy is, because he's staying too long here, for months, this guy is overgrazing these good grasses and overresting these grasses. Both, it will eventually die. Some of them, we need to understand that in the same pasture, you will have overgrazing and overresting. Or undergrazing, overgrazing and undergrazing. And he's going to kill them both. And then he will have more encroachment, because remember that nature is trying to send you something that you will not be able to get rid of, trying to cover the soil and keep the photosynthesis going. Keep that whatever remainings of microbiology are still there. Well, okay, go back. So this is at the entrance of that highway, and then I drive another 60 kilometers, and then on the same day, that's how my ranch is looking like. Much darker green. And then you see, for example, this is going backwards, definitely. And my property is going forward because the bottom here, the water runs this way. So I already have a good establishment of perennials, and then this is like a black seed or annuals. And then I know, I can tell you that when I see this wheat, it's a good sign, because next year there's going to be grass. So you have to identify in context what the plants that you're growing are telling you. What is coming next? Where I'm heading. I also remember that helping a good grazer in Nebraska, on a part of Nebraska that he was getting only like 12 inches, the sand hills of Nebraska. And it's sand hills, but are covered with very nice grasses. And his father told us, hey, why don't you take a look at this entrance of the house, this big alley that hasn't been grazed for 30 years. And remember, we're in Nebraska. We found 30 different cactus. Nature is ready for whatever we manage. So it's pretty impressive, like, wow, this guy has more cactus than I have in the Chihuahuan Desert. So yeah, this is pretty natural, established perennial grasses, then annual grasses, weeds, bare ground. And I did this study with a friend of mine from France, because he did it in France, and he said, hey, Alejandro, can you do that for your desert? So if you see here at this stage, all are aggressive plants. Like, these will kill or get your cows crazy. These are a bunch of thorns, So nature really gets really aggressive as we keep insisting on dominating nature. And then you start seeing the pioneers, early grasses, and that doesn't mean that I will not have woody plants, because then I'm having now different woody plants that now they were thriving at some point among the grasslands. And this is in my place, but I have a friend who is actually higher elevation, like at 2,500 meters, and he's in a forest in Chihuahua. And his grasses are killing like junipers, and they're leaving the big pines. So junipers were also like kind of the problem, but yeah, grasses start actually getting the environment as for the plants. Well, there are millions of dollars spent, for example, in Texas fighting the mesquite, but they never change the way they manage, and they are not again, and it's really very expensive. Like, I have seen places that they only spray like 300-400 acres, and the rancher has to put $50,000 to $100,000. And I said, well, so this was what's going on at the ranch. See, the grasses are killing very different, all kinds of woody plants that nature throw at some point that they were useful, because there was no over ground. But now nature is saying you don't need this plant anymore, so it's just going away. Different plants. I mean, they're all dying. Even small mesquites are dying. But see, as I was telling you, that doesn't mean that this is going to be just grasslands. There will be new trees coming up, but not necessarily the mesquites. Even bigger mesquites are dying. But because in nature really nothing gets wasted, well, I like this quote from how any of you read Masanobu Fukuoka? Yeah, you? Okay. Good stuff, right? So he actually found out that we need vegetation to actually make rain. At least the small water cycle. You have a great scientist here in Australia, probably a lot of you know Walter Jenny. Talks about this small, it's beautiful, small water cycle. How you spell Jenny? J-E-H-N-E, right? Yeah. Then we already talked about the small water cycle. I have a nice picture for you. This is not in my ranch, but obviously this is a ranch that has been working under holistic regenerative grazing, and this is a ranch that is not. Perfect timing. But we do believe on that though. And obviously the effective rainfall, right? Have all of you run that infiltration test? Yeah? Okay, so it's a 6x6 ring, and then you pour 444 millimeters, 444, and that's equivalent to 1 inch. And if your soil is moisture, that's it. That's all what you need to do, just to time it and see how long it takes to infiltrate 1 inch. But if it is very dry, then you run it twice, and that will give you actually usually the water just goes down fast until it reaches your compacted soils, that plated soil. And probably that's where most of the root system of your grasslands are going to be, just on that where you have that air in the soil. Well, it was, for example, here we were infiltrating 2 inches, and here, these are my daughters, here we are able to infiltrate 18 inches based on the NRCA tables from the Natural Resources Department in the US. So once I was in India, because I'm always promoting this, on a convention, and I met this delegation from Germany. And when I told them, hey, I would like to give you a brief presentation, and said, oh, no. They said, we don't want to hear about your stuff. Why? Because it takes this many liters of water to produce 1 kilo of beef. And then, finally I convinced them, and I told them, okay, I think what you're not seeing, guys, is that me doing this kind of management, the difference in infiltration rate, extrapolating to the 30,000 acres that I have, could meet the water needs for 100,000 people for a full year. That's what we're not. So we need to learn that, folks, in order to defend our industry. Because we're just very focused on very little things, and people are not focusing on the whole ecosystem services that we're providing. I like this example that a friend of mine sent me. He's working on a ranch in Texas, helping them, and he said, hey, Alex, I just don't get it, man. This is the ranch that we are regenerating, good skin in the soil, good grasses, and this is continuous grazing. But he got more snow. And I was thinking about it, and I said, oh, I know what's going on. So When you have skin in the soil, like cover, chill, grasses, the temperatures are going to be more consistent. That means that they're going to be cooler in summer and warmer in winter. So actually, because I saw it at a ranch once at a time that we got snow. This guy captured more snow, but the snow melted much faster than the neighbor. So it doesn't matter where you are, it actually is good to have that skin in the soil and those, because remember, the micro herd will start dying if you go above, sorry, I only know the Fahrenheit, above 110 Fahrenheit. It's going to start dying. These dramatic temperatures, see how many things that we do are actually working against us doing a good business. So it was 10:30 a.m. and it was already 45 Celsius before we reached the ranch. Actually, I got a friend of mine, Jesus, by the way, and he actually got feel the rest of the day. He felt really bad because he's coming from a 2,000 meter more, and I took him to that spot. I know, so it's not good for anybody. Then we reached the ranch 1 hour after, and it was only Fahrenheit 75, but the difference was about 20. Yeah, it's pretty impressive how much we let it run, evaporate. Fire, wow. Yeah, we went to a little bit of this explanation, but I was waiting for this study for a while, because finally this study came early this year, and see, look at it. There we go. Direct correlation between the dryness and the probability of fires. So the more grasses we have under those forests, the more moisture we're going to retain and the less probability of fires. How about other guys that are working for us? So what do you think about this cow pie? Any opinions? Comments? Do you like it? You don't like it? Have you tried it? Have you tested? Yeah, we have a rancher actually. Oh yeah, he just say, oh yeah, they're done good. Yeah, I have some samples. No, what do you think? It's there, right? It shouldn't be there. That is bottom line. See how far we as humans have been? How far? This is a bison ranch, and they're putting ivermectin on bison. I just cannot believe that. How can you put ivermectin on a wild animal? Wow. But yeah, that is the point. I mean, because they're using ivermectin, they are killing the beetles, and whatever management you do, you're losing half of the results. This is in my ranch, and I have to publicly thank you, Aussies, because these dung beetles came from Africa to Australia. It's the gazelle dung beetles, and then the U.S. brought them to America, and then they are now also in Mexico. So these are very efficient dung beetles because they are the tunnelers. We prefer the tunnelers. All the dung beetles are good. The rollers and the ones that live on the cow pie. But we really want to have a bunch of these guys. Hundreds on a cow pie. Because they do this kind of work. This is a side view. See, they put a lot of soil out and then take all that stuff. So those cow pies that are oxidized, then they don't do a good thing. I mean, obviously in winter will be much lower because the dung beetles work better on a more warmer, humid moisture. But on the peak of ore, whatever is ore season, yeah, we have to do, the first thing we need to do is don't kill them. Oh, but I need ivermectin. Ivermectin, you understand? Yeah?
Drainage. Yeah. Oh, drainage.
range. Hey, I should have said that from the very beginning, right? Yeah, if you keep doing that, then, my God, you're not gonna have that activity. First thing is don't kill them, and then fix the water cycle, and they'll come. They'll come. You don't need to bring them. They came from us, from Africa to Australia to Mexico, so. And then we all start having a diversity of dung beetles as well. Bigger dung beetles because now there's more food. Like this one is like 6 times bigger than that Caseola. It took me probably a few years to start seeing this guy. And then that is a cow pie that has been really very well worked. It's like a macro climate. See how all these are promoting life. And you know the Egyptians knew the value of the dung beetles. There's more examples of that civilization. Termites. Usually termites, at least what I have seen, they are in a bit more degraded land. The more degraded, the more termites. But really, it was until we fixed the water cycle that we start seeing more termite activity. And it's pretty impressive the work they do. Because they're like the donkeys. They finish the work. They take the bad stuff that nobody wants. And I don't know if you know this, but the termites have the richest nitrogen fixed bacteria of all insects. So if you see termites, they are putting nitrogen into your soil. Remember, there's like a succession also on insects. If you have a lot of degradation, you're going to have a lot of ants. Ants are the first to come, trying to fix the land. And then you're going to start having dung beetles and termites, and I don't know, maybe you're in a more moisture environment, maybe you will have earthworms. I don't. Maybe one day, but I don't know. So by observing what was going on here, so the grasses were killing the mesquite, but we start seeing branches falling down from the mesquite. And we realized that it was a beetle, not a dung beetle, but a pruner beetle, pruning those branches. So when the branches fall, then these termites take the branches and put into the soil. So instead of the mesquite, which is a legume, putting the nitrogen, now is the work of the termites. It's pretty impressive, right? How nature evolves. What happened if I came here and sprayed this mesquite? I will pretty much break that circle of life. Also, the termites in places that we have better water cycle are taking down the oxidized grass. Okay, we talk about this. We don't want to see these guys because this is not good. It's too much protein, which will accumulate as ammonia, and eventually, if you keep doing that, then it will show up on like a pink eye or those kind of sickness. And that's usually when you are eating too immature grass, and that is one of the benefits of the long rest periods, because what we have seen is, because we are always grazing a paddock that is completely new. When it rains, you have the green up among the yellow grass, and you're letting the cow to select green but also yellow. So you don't have that problem. We used to have that problem when we were reaching the paddock before a year because it was just green, it was from the ground up. Now we don't have that problem. And then eventually, because you have a lot of, like those parts have a lot of grasses, and then it rains, and then the green is almost like it's gonna eat the yellow, and that yellow grass is gonna be part of the soil. It's pretty cool to see it, because you have tons of stockpile, and suddenly after 1 or 2 months of the rain, you don't see anything, but it's right on the soil. So it helps the cow and it helps the macro herd. Well, I already explained you why I had the donkeys. See the cow? The donkeys are pretty crazy. They eat all kind of stuff. So I do prefer to have a plant converted into manure than a standing plant. So that's kind of the work for the donkeys. We also have a mountain range, broken land. Well, questions so far? You're digesting that food, right? Ruminating? Okay. Yes.
In your on your ranch, is there any poisonous plants that cows shouldn't eat?
Oh yeah. There are plenty. The thing is that now that we have well-established grasses, they're still there because I'm not saying that my grass is all thick grasslands. Sorry, that my station. You talk about ranch, I talk about stations. So in my ranch, actually there's still bare spots, right? Like no, that's where those poison weeds are. Before we have just a bunch of them. Probably it also ties back to the water cycle. Well, they don't do well on where there's the water cycle is fixed. But oh no, we spend a lot of time and money fighting them. I mean, but we never were able to get over because we were using the same kind of grazing management. And actually, the other day I was observing the cows getting to a paddock, and that paddock has grasses, what I call fours, which are like good, nice, palatable herbs. And there were also like a few of those toxic plants. So the cows were getting in and they were smelling. They were not trying, they were already trying, and they were skipping those toxic plants, and now they were eating the ones that are well palatable. But no, I think that problem has been fixed by the grasses taking over, because they were very lush and now they're like shrink and very little, and usually the cows just skip them. They don't eat them. Mm-hmm. Also, it makes sense why they eat them, because they are probably high in bricks. But yeah, we used to have a lot of problems with that. Every year bringing 30, 40 people and then spraying those, and yeah.
So you just leave them alone until they naturally die out?
Exactly. And for example, we have one that is called the loco weed, and we have a remedy, that is good for remedy, for some remedies. And I asked my foreman to look for it, and he struggled to find one. So yeah, things are going to change for the good. Yeah, a lot of things that we consider problems are just going to go away. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Are you inferring before that you don't drench your cattle?
Well, I used to, but it's been like 15 years that I haven't used it. Yeah.
At all? Nothing?
Well. No, nothing. I mean, I don't vaccinate my cattle. Well, I remember having an issue with one of my neighbors, that I was kind of just there in the afternoon. I was just talking to one cowboy in the middle of grasslands, and I saw this truck coming in, and then turning into where I was. I said, well, he knows the ranch, but I was really not concerned at all. And then he was my neighbor, and he said, hey, I'm looking for someone to blame. And I say, what's going on? My cows are dying. Okay. And then I think it was you, he told me, because you don't vaccinate. And then he actually gave me an explanation, saying, and these bacteria are flying and infecting my cattle. But he was serious and concerned. And I said, I knew that he doesn't get along with his aunts. And I said, oh, maybe it was your aunts. Yes, yeah. And then he turned around, get into his truck. No, it didn't take like 1 minute, and he was back again. Said, no, They were not because they do vaccinate. And I say, okay. But I was serious. No? Like those Aussie girls that tease me. I was serious and I said, okay, I know who was that damn guy. Really? Yes. Tell me. Go back to your house. Yeah. I said, get into the house. Yeah. Look, yeah. Get into the toilet and look at the mirror. That was the damn guy that's killing your cows. And he was pissed off. The good thing is I have a big cowboy next to me, so we can beat him. But then, usually we call each other every week. He didn't call me for 2 months. After he called me and he said, Alex, you were right. My cows were dying because they didn't have anything to eat. So we go back, Yeah, really. So we go back always, to nutrition and selection. If you don't want to drench your cows or put ivermectin, you need to select for, because there will always be cows that don't have a bunch of those stuff, like ticks or something. Why? Why some cows have ticks and some others don't have? It's a selection problem. And as you do your grazing management more intentional, then you have better grasses. So it's that good nutrition plus that selection that will make your cows not needing that stuff. Mm-hmm. But we see the problem is we want all the cows to do well. So we say, love, for my fellow here guys, love your wife, forgive your children, don't do any of those things to your cows. Well, we love our cows, but that's just an example. Did I answer your question? Okay, sorry, it takes me a while, but I get to the point. Sometimes I get around the question, but sometimes people say, hey, no, you answered my question. Any other question? Okay, no? Let's keep going. So we also have a broken land, and we manage it slightly different. For example, these are cows. For example, we actually place the cows on hard to fence spots. We wait for the cows to actually get a drink at noon, and then we place them in different canyons and things like that. And then they just, because we have such a good grasses on the mountain range that you don't really have to do much. They graze them all, and next day at noon they go back to water. So we try to estimate an area that will take 1 day. See, that's why other benefit of the donkeys, because, well, not the donkeys are going to go up here, but usually in other parts, the donkeys are always higher than the cows, helping us to do a more even grazing on broken land. Well, these are examples of how we fence that. Well, we fence because we use a combination of driving, placing, herding, and also polywire. So each when my foreman has put that same polywire 2 years, he tells me, let's put it permanent. Okay, let's put it permanent because you already did it many times. So most of our fences are permanent electric high tensile wire, one wire, but then when we cross fence, it's polywire. I can explain that on the board, if you remind me. Yeah, some of these are 1.5 inch. Use as insulator. Very simple stuff. Fence. See, you see there's a little rock here, but they find a way to do it. Hey, how about this? I got the permit to export this to Australia. Some people said, yeah, but you don't give the tools, so they get pretty creative though. So this is the kind of animal impact that the animals do at the mountain range. It's pretty impressive. But you may say, oh, Alex, you just went all over too much. But no, I mean, after a year and a half, oh my God, this looks really beautiful. See? They eat pretty much most of it. And then we come to another, remember I explained to you the curve, the bell curve. This is all about selecting cattle that will work for you instead of you work for the cows. So let's say these cows are on the same herd, but you see the big difference between the two. We're trying to be more consistent in our genetics. I mean, I'm not saying that the shorter cows are better than the tall cows. The cow will tell you which one stays and which one leaves. This happened that obviously, well, this cow was pregnant and this was open, so there was not a no-brainer to get rid of that cow. That's why that cow has this stuff here. Comparing bulls as well. As they asked Lasseter, hey, you're pretty good, the one that came out with the Beefmaster breed. You know a lot of stuff. Tell us how a good cow should look like and a good bull. Well, cow should look like a cow and bull like a bull. So there shouldn't be any confusion on that. More masculine, more feminine. See, comparing two bulls here. Same conditions, just genetics is a difference. Again, same deal, from the same breeder. Same deal. I mean, this was a way taller bull, but lighter than this bull. And their working clothes. You can see a big difference in the two bulls. And these are very nice herd in Mexico from the mentor of my mentor. He is supposed to be the first customer of Alan Severy in the Americas. Remember, Americas, right? The continent. So Billy Finan, what he did was to actually get into a group of with Americans, and they brought experts from around the world, Jan Bosman and Alan Severy, and that's when Alan Severy came to the US, and then Billy Finan, he was 60 years old, and he said, oh, that was exactly what I'm missing. And the next 25 years, he really did a very impressive job. And this herd has been closed for 70 years now. You go there, oh my God, they're all like 1,500 cows, the same. It was funny because he selected his grandson to run the ranch, and his name is Tavo, and Tavo was telling me, hey, Alex, I was with my granddad looking at the cows, and I, kind of got an idea and told my granddad, why don't we put tags on the cows? No, you need to know each cow. Imagine, all the same 1,500 cows. This is the same herd, the bulls. This is another friend who actually does a lot of selection as well. This was probably like Angus, Brangus, something like that. This is his bull. All this stuff in the northern Mexico. See, it doesn't really matter the breed. This is the cows that the Spaniards brought, but they kind of get into the mountain range of Chihuahua, and these are the ones that the Americans use for rodeos, right? But even though you have that cow, you still need to keep selecting for cows that are fertile. But pretty good cows. See the cows eating cactus there? So that is really adaptability. If you really see a cow that you like what she's doing, it's much easier to buy that cow, to share that wisdom in your herd. It was when we bought some bulls that were doing this, and they start spreading the knowledge across the herd. So they actually break the pad, scratch the thorns, and then eat it. I don't need to burn the thorns. Hey, after dinner. Bison. Oh, that was a nice experience. We went to help the largest bison producer in the US. No, it was a struggle because the owner actually thought that he bought like 2 million acres in the US and torn down all the fences and put the bison. Rewilding. Oh, that sounds like a good idea, but in reality it doesn't work because we don't have the same conditions as before. We have a lot of fragmentation and highways and fences and blah blah, not even the same patterns of predators. And we struggled with them to sell them the idea that they needed electric fence for bison. Finally, they listened to the guy that was very eloquent, the expert on wolves in the US, and he said, yeah, okay, let's give it a try. So the approach was kind of interesting because we got the class of the 10 managers of all the ranches, and we spotted 2 or 3 guys that were really keen, interested. So we asked the VP of those ranches, who are those guys? Okay, where are the ranches? We wouldn't be selecting the worst ranches. Same principle. We wanted to select one of the. So ended up that 2 managers who were really willing to try were in South Dakota, and after 1 year, then we went back. There we go. You got the bison under electric fence. Now regenerating the place, because the way they were used, the way all spread, they were degrading the place. We already talked about this, like we want results faster and based on these criteria. We want to select the most productive first and then work on it. For example, this is my property, the perimeter, natural perimeter here, and this is how I prioritize my property. So here, the dark green is the most productive areas, easy to, like low-hanging fruit, easy to fence, is on the main road, good stands of grasses. And then I go to the light and so on until the red. Why the mountain range is red? Because I had to actually build roads, pump the water. It's more expensive. It has responded pretty well, but at least at that instance, that was my low priority. Well, okay, let's keep going. You already saw that one. This is my dad. He's 90 years old. I remember when my mentor, Jesus, went to the ranch, it was just like all bare ground, including some hills, like we call it malpais, which are volcanic black rock hills. And I asked Jesus, why are those hills don't have anything? Alex, because that's where your best grasses used to be. So they're gone. Okay. But he told me something that really grabbed my attention. He said, Alex, you're thinking of having more grass, more cattle, being more profitable, but you haven't thought about something very important. What you do is going to give more years of life to your dad. And my dad is so excited about the ranch, that he keeps going and going and going. So, yeah, think about this, folks, as just going beyond the productivity. It just touches actually our human relationships and actually is our well-being in general. We work with conservancy organizations, mostly in the US, and they're really happy with the results. I think what we have seen is a dramatic increase in wildlife, obviously also predators. But see, one of the benefits we have where we are is that there are enough predators to control the prey, the grazers. They don't go out of control. These are pictures from the ranch, mule deer, and this is a native pig, and foxes, and golden eagles, and so on. So let's take a quick look at other examples in Chihuahua. Because once you got the ball rolling and you got excitement, then people want more. Okay, let's try this here, let's try this there, let's try that. So I'm gonna share with you some good examples within our state. For example, this guy had a lot of bare ground and he started putting bales. He got also cropland. He put bales, like a stripes of bales. So you see those. And then on the first year, he got this nice response. mostly weeds and annuals, but that's what we want to kick off something. So you see, a mine on the high mountain range of Chihuahua. The owner really wanted to give back something back to the natives, and one of my friends who knows how to do this stuff, he said, "Yeah, I can help you." He was a friend of the owner of the mine. So they brought cattle. They put some hay, not much, because if you put too much hay, it will inhibit. But they put the seed of the grass on the feeders. And I understand that they also use some kind of biological amendments there. Oh, let me go back. Here, they also, because this was just gravel, they put a layer of soil here. They start working. Well, it does snow every year because it's higher ground in our state. They get about 25, 30 inches per year there. And then you see what it was remaining, and then the first year, and you start seeing the grass coming up. See? Here are the cows. My friend has now pictures of all this stuff green. So once they establish the grasses, then they start planting pines. That was a pretty cool project. And okay, this was another friend who was about to sell the ranch. So in Chihuahua, you actually have like 3 blocks. It's the desert where I am, and it's the middle part, which is nice grasslands, which is supposed to be these ones, and the high mountain range where the mine is. So these 3 different. So that part of Chihuahua is really good, because if we make the same effort, we will get much faster results there, because it has a little bit more precipitation, a bit more higher elevation. So this guy was, oh my God, I'm done. But one of my mentors went to help him. This guy was kind of interesting, because when you go to his ranch, he got the horses ready for you. And he has side-by-sides, and all that. No, we gotta go and ride the whole day of horse. Okay, that's good. So yeah, that was the situation, pretty bad. But then after only 5 years, with good mentoring, boom, he just bounced incredible back. There you have mostly all tall grasses. Then obviously he changed a little bit his genetics, but then genetics plus nutrition. He didn't have any nutrition before. So everything, it was looking really good. Good grazer though, it's a pretty good rancher. And we were riding on his place. For example, he got a lot of this cat's claw and stuff like that, but the grass is now killing all that stuff. Then I got another friend who kind of regenerated his land, like similar to mine, but he said, no, we gotta go to the extreme. Let me go and buy on the sand dunes of the state of Chihuahua. Well, okay, do it. And this guy bought this land. Well, the rest periods there are 2 years. Then animal impact. He was moving like 5 times per day, 6 times per day. He wanted really animal impact. This was his road. Then after 2 years, then boom, the grass is back. Grasses. So really, when you have faith and then you have like a group of people doing it, then great things start happening. Because not only that, folks, because just think about for a moment. I'm not saying that it was the case for us or someone else, but there was a time where we were in a ranch, and if that kid was smart, he has to go to the city, right? And the other one is going to stay here. Yeah, you're laughing because that's true, right? Now we need to bring the smart people back because what we do is so important. And then that's what's happening in our place. A lot of smart people are coming back, and also you can see that trend. But only there are young people are only attracted because of the regeneration of what regen is doing for the whole, for the wildlife, for the quality of food, for the grasslands, and so on. For climate. So okay, just to sum up, comparing the conventional and the regen, what are the differences? For example, this regen, it actually relies on a good water system. Good water system. Also, education is very important because not knowing that is really very costly. Respecting the natural process, we already saw that, right? The succession. Trying to get more intentional on the grazing. Way more paddocks than what we may have. For example, I have 350 permanent electric fence paddocks that I'm going to explain to you now. And last year, because of the rains, I get 1,000 paddocks. So it really depends on the year. So let me explain that to you because then I may forget it. So let's go back to the board. How we fence. Let's say that this is, this is blue. Okay, hold on. Let's do it with red. Well, I can do it here. So let's say that this is our paddock, or block. And we are going to run the water pipe across that block. And we are going to fence. This is like conventional fence that we used to have, and this is the electric fence. So we start doing like this. On both sides. When I did this, the distance here is 200 meters. Why 200 meters? Because that allows me to use a real polywire of 660, which is a mid-size. You don't carry that heavy. So, but most people nowadays they're going 150 meters. I don't know why, but what they're doing. The point here is to try to minimize the labor. Even though in Mexico labor is cheaper, but I don't want to have more people than I need. And then in average, this goes like 800 meters. We don't go farther than a whole high tensile reel, which is about 1200 meters. But the average is about 800 meters. And then you have your water, let's say right in the middle. Let's say probably here. But the nice thing about this design is that you can add more water without changing the water pipe. Eventually you may say, it's more efficient for the cows to have another water point here and here. And then all what you need to do is just quick connect that stuff, and maybe you ended up using like a portable water trough. And then how we graze is, for example, let's say that we're moving once a day, and then this paddock has quite an amount of good grass. This has only grass here. This has a little bit grass here, and so on, right? That's our environment. The nice thing about this is that eventually you will cover the whole thing and it will make things easier. It will be easier to actually estimate. So let's say that, hold on. Let me put more green here. So let's say that we have half here as well, and so on. Well, I think that's enough to get the idea. And so the gate is here, and I said, and the gate is here. So let's say that we're ready to graze this. No, this is our first paddock. So because this is our first paddock, then we need to put polywire so they don't go ahead here. So they can go back to the water. And then this is equivalent, let's say, of 1 day, the forage. And then we just leave it the whole day because we're doing daily moves. The whole day, come here, no cross fencing. And then let's say that we go now here. So this goes, where already grazes, open up. But this is equivalent of 3 days, let's suppose. Then we put 1 and 2. And then let's say that this is equivalent of 2 days. We go and cross fence. We don't put back fence. They don't go back. So we put the fence there. See, it really, you're always estimating how much forage they need for how often you're moving, and then you just cross fence. So this is really been working really nice for us. And there are some people that do all polywire. And they also do all portable. So they may say that, okay, because I'm doing portable, they ended up putting moving the trough or 2. You know what I mean? Because I have a friend, a young rancher there, that he's actually sent me a video, and he said, Alex, I didn't put 1, I put 2 here. And I increased the basal cover by 40% by having one of these closer to the water. Now remember that it really doesn't matter how big is your trough. The most important thing here is the flow rate. We have a ranch in Texas that runs 7,000 steers, and the trough is not that big. But as long as that water doesn't go down on the next round of steers, nobody has a problem. They learn how to take turns. The problem is when the next round doesn't have the water, and then it creates a mess. So it's all about the flow rate. Growing grass, I can tell you folks, is the easy part. The most difficult part that is going to tell you how many calories you can have is the flow rate. So some point in your ranch you have the bottleneck, maybe at the bore, maybe usually is the pipeline, or maybe it could be I don't think it's the floating valve, I don't think so, but yeah, that ranch in Texas used 2 floating valves, big and a big pipe, pressurized. Any questions about this design? Yes.
So just with that, you're relying on the fact that the cows have pooped on that grass to stop them going back into those areas.
Yeah. Well, I'm relying on my polywire, not for the cows to go ahead.
No. So you're when they've been on an area of ground.
Yeah.
Are you fencing them off from going back to it? No. Yeah.
No. Yeah, no back fence because they will not go back. They're always waiting for something better, greener pastures, clean pastures.
But they'd be in that whole area for how long?
It depends. It depends on the amount of forage. Oh, you mean no? That's not a big deal.
So not long enough for it to regrow and then
No, don't worry about that. Because you will, if there are some, no, they don't go back because remember that you're also creating again that herd instinct. They don't want to get out of the herd. So you don't really have cows like, oh, I have my herd here. And 2 or 3 cows, you don't see that anymore. No, it doesn't happen. It happened at the beginning with the donkeys. I don't like that stuff but until finally they really get over that stuff. Yeah, the donkeys were going back to the green, but no, they are now get used to. But no, you don't see. If you see a cow during they are not calving and you see a cow far away from the herd, you better check it out what's going on, because she may have a problem or something. But no, they want to stick with the herd. Mhm. Obviously, the calves may go ahead because they're small and but that's like the creep feeding, natural creep feeding. Uh-huh. Yep.
So just repeat the benefits of that over leaving them the same time in the whole paddock. If you average that out, what
Mhm.
you're doing is getting the intense manure in the one area, and what's the productivity you're finding? So that's like 3 or 5.
Oh no, it's no. Think about it. I'm in the desert where there was nothing.
Yeah.
Thousands of times better, yeah. And then it's still going. It's still making more pros, making more diversity, more. Yeah. See, and I think that's a good comment, because we deal with the carbon. How you call it? Carbon credit companies. The companies that buy carbon from ranchers. Okay. And they tell me, oh, you've been doing this for a while. You may not be, because they base on the additionality, right? They work on additionality. Oh, you may not be adding more carbon. Well, you don't know what you're talking about. Because I'm there, and I think I could be there, and you're taking less risks with me than trying to work with a new rancher. But yeah, no, I mean, the potential is just impressive. And in this environment, I think I think I see more potential in ranches that are like, let's say, I don't know, 10 to 20 than ranches with more rainfall. But I don't know. I'm just saying, because we're so low and so bad. Oof, I have seen a lot of potential in Australia as well. It's just incredible.
So the idea is that in a year's time, that first bottom left corner that was 1 day becomes 3 days.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
And even that top
Yeah.
left-hand corner will become a 1 day or something. The empty one at the top.
Yeah, like this one.
Next to that, the very
grass in it.
Yeah.
top left.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Oh yeah, because actually we were doing our trials at the beginning, and we were like in these areas, and they only lasted for 2 hours.
Yes.
But we just want to do it,
Yeah.
and then next year 4 hours, and next year 1 day, and now we have to split it. Yeah, that is the idea, because remember, it's not only the amount of biomass, but also the quality. Mm-hmm. They need to consume less with a better quality. Yeah, that is the idea.
Is another benefit that they're not, is another benefit related to compaction, trampling? So back to what you were saying, if you had the herd in the whole area for the same amount of time.
Oh yes.
They're walking back and forth, therefore trampling the soil more than this way?
Well, the problem sometimes is the distance to the water. Sometimes the water is too far, and then they go like a big herd to the water. And then for this kind of example, obviously the water is closer, even though I have just one trough. But then they go multiple times. And then if you could potentially design, see, are you familiar with key line? Well, I like more cow line. So let me tell you how. So if you can design your paddocks in such a way that those distances, those cow paths, I don't know how you call those, are perpendicular to the water flow, they will help you instead of being a problem.
Because they can cause gullying if they're...
Exactly, they are in the same direction. But if you design your paddocks in such a way that the longer distance go perpendicular to the water, they will help you stop the water. But it has more to do with the distance to the water. I mean, yeah. And then you're growing more grasses, and remember that what is really holding the grass from avoiding to be compacted is actually the aggregation. It's not that the animal will make a big deal of compaction. Yeah. Yes?
I'm just wondering, because I'm aware that many of us in the room probably have properties between 20 and 100 acres, and so it's not practical for us to have 300 paddocks and 300 days of rest. Do you have any sort of thoughts on how we could translate some of these wonderful work and findings of yours into smaller properties, which would help many of us here?
Yeah, I think as long as, because your paddocks are going to be much smaller because you have less cattle, right?
Yes.
Sorry, yeah, or I don't know, yeah, livestock.
Livestock.
Yeah, so they will be smaller, but anyway, you can do a lot of them as long as you can extend the rest periods and intensify your grazing. I think you get the benefit. I'm not saying, because I didn't go from, let's say, 120 days all the way through 1 year. I start adding paddocks and then I start seeing the benefits. So I went from 120 days to, let's say, 6 months, and then to 9 months, and then a year. And it actually was like 4 years ago that I reached that point of more intensive grazing combined with long rest periods, that that's when we really see the change of the ranch. Because we were stagnant for many years, like, those multiple rotations improve, reach a plateau, then start going down. We're pretty much, and most people are pretty much happy with that more intensive grazing and combination with long rest periods. So that is kind of like the goal, but that doesn't mean that you have to go there to get the benefits. Mm-hmm.
So you would say optimise the rest time as much as you possibly can, get that as long as possible.
Right.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. But do it like as I told you, like in small scale, different areas, and then you say, okay, this area I'm going to do twice as much of what I do today. For example, in Venezuela, they were doing 30 days. Now they went to 60 days, and immediately, because they were measuring the daily gains, saw the benefit. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So if they got plenty of food left after 1 day, leave them in there another, or do they make the paddock too big?
No, I'm not following you. Can you repeat the question?
If
Or?
there's plenty of feed left
Oh,
in
yes.
the paddock after the first day, do you leave them in there another day, or have you made the paddock too big?
Yes, I understand. Well, you can leave it more time, but now next time you know that you have to split it in two. Yeah, it's a constant learning process, because we say, oops. For example, on the end of the paddocks, sometimes they don't go all the way to the end, and probably we maybe use the horses to push them there and leave them another few hours a day to graze that part. Yeah, but no, I mean, it's an art, and as the more you do it, the more you understand the different plans that you have and how long they're gonna take it. Because, for example, the other day I was helping my foreman to cross fence, right, those long alleys, and I thought that he was leaving too much grass, but he knew what he was doing. See, I'm trying to be my people smarter than me, so I can be with you. So. And I thought that he left too much, but next day it was perfect, because he was only counting the perennial grasses, because that was a combination of perennials and annuals, and you cannot count what doesn't have green unless you have a lot of green. Well, yeah, but it's more an art than a science, to actually estimate how much they need based on whatever plants or conditions are at that particular time. Yeah, always putting the livestock first. First, because we have seen a lot of problems with this, where people force the cows and it doesn't work. They may get pregnant, they may deliver well, everything, but then you start seeing some issues as generation passes by that they don't develop well, because we're forcing too much. The cows really need to select. Okay? Yeah? Good? Okay. So, then we strive to have one herd, because, obviously I have seen that in Australia, that, oh my God, you have so many herds all over the place. But yeah, we had that issue as well there. Then we like the multi-species ongoing selection. We already talked about that. raising your own bulls, and we keep most of our heifers because the heifers are like the jewels, the good stuff on the ranch. Actually, that guy who has the heifers for close herd for now 70 years, he used first to buy heifers, and if the heifers worked, then he went back to that rancher and buy the bulls. Calving, well, that's an interesting point because when we only have 3 months of green, we were trying to do everything on those 3 months. Of green grass because things were pretty rough. But it actually wasn't working well because we were calving during the best time of the year, and then our rainfall is very close to winter. And then we were breeding or joining right too late, so the grass was just going down. And the cows were having a young calf during winter. But it was until we actually were able to start extended green season that allowed us to get the calving season in the spring. So yeah, the cows calve in the spring. They have not the best forage, but they calve good. And then you got the rains, you got the forage getting better. That's when we do the breeding season, which is doing well because probably cows sense that it's getting better. And then the cows, when we get into winter, the cows have a big calf, so that's not a problem anymore because they already are eating something else. Yes?
Yeah, that's a bit of a problem because if you calve in spring, there's such a huge spring here. The grass goes from this to this
Gotcha.
in weeks. So the calf is growing very rapidly inside the cow, and you have calving problems. We've
Right.
been, 35 years we've been calving in autumn and
Perfect.
grow the calf into the feed. So as
Gotcha.
the feed develops, the cow's got more lactation, and then the calf is going to eat the grass. The only problem happens is then the grass runs out. But calving in spring here is
Yeah. Your spring may be different than my spring. Yeah, we're trying to actually fit it within our context, but also remember that as you apply these principles, things are going to change. So your management really need to change as you go along. Things that probably you think that were not possible before now are possible. Yeah, change the whole ballpark. And then the other thing is see your ranch as a laboratory, multiple trials per year, keep what works. Well, that's kind of a summary. There we go. You know what's the name of this donkey? Side by side. No, the message here is that this guy doesn't have roads, doesn't have many tools, but he's actually making it work. That is being intentional, not intentional-ish. And then we do a little bit of direct marketing, small still most percentage. Actually, we sell a combination of 80% beef, 20% lamb. What else? Well, we're not done yet, but how much more time do we have? Okay, let's go quickly to a few pictures here, and then you ask me as we go along. Under the hood. So just comparing what happened yesterday and today, remember we were actually targeting the worst areas, which didn't work that well. We only were using barbed wire in very large areas, and now, as we explained, smaller areas, herding in addition to fencing, and we are very focused on working first on the best. Okay. This is the pastures that my dad had when I joined the ranch. It was a lot of overgrazing and a lot of over-resting cattle all over the place. We were never able to see all the cows. I remember riding from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., 7 days. We were never able to see all the cows. Then we moved to 55 pastures. There was less overgrazing and overresting, and we were rotating every 4 months. But actually, I think we feel we were rotational overgrazing still. And then we moved to this bunch of permanent. But then, if it is a good year, then we go over 1,000. We still need to develop this. This is a bit outdated. We're already doing some things in here. This is the same example as this one, you know, but in a different branch. The water pipe, all these fences. Another example where you have like 2 blocks. This is 1 block. Here the yellow is the water. This guy is doing multiple moves per day. See, he's cross fencing, but also cross fencing that first paddock. Not back fence to the water. So he opens up this one, this one, this one. He's done, and then he moves to the other one, and the other one, and the other, and so on. Yes.
Do you ever plan for shade for animals as well as water and feed?
Plan for shade? No, we don't, because, well, so things there like selection as well. You know, why some cows keep grazing with no shade and some others are struggling. And the other is that the temperatures when you have good ground cover are way lower than when you have bare ground. So I think you're creating a more pleasant environment, but yeah, no shade. Eventually, probably we will have some trees, but it's so slow in nature, you know, that at that point, probably you already have a pretty good adapted herd that doesn't need shade. But you're actually helping them by actually covering the soil with thick stands of grass. Yeah, because you're talking about, what, 20 Celsius difference between bare ground and, yeah. It's still a controversy on that, but we're cruel, probably.
Like if my cows have a good feed, they'll feed and then they'll head up to where there's a big gum tree and they'll sit in the shade of the tree and rest up.
I mean, I think that's fine.
Yeah. But if I fence them off from that tree, they'll be sat in the sun.
That's right. Then you need to start selecting, right? These are our corner posts. This is a fence that we use that everything is insulated, that edge brace, but also the posts are like mix of wood and plastic. They've been holding pretty well. This is a different approach where you only use this one. This did not work for the bird guys. Well, obviously it was a cheap one, I didn't like it, but also the yellow color caused issues because there was a case where a hummingbird just popped up like a popcorn. So we don't use bright colors, we only use nowadays black or green, so to avoid that stuff. That is in combination with a T-post. And you know, like different stuff. I think it's pretty impressive what's going on in our state because we have a lot of Mennonites living in our state, like 200,000 Mennonites, and they are actually manufacturing everything that we need, energizers and everything. So there's new industries. When we actually started, there was just one company selling the polypipe, the black. Now there are like 10. So yeah, some industries just go down, like the ones selling that ivermectin, but some others just come up. Yes?
Has anybody tried virtual fencing over there?
Not yet, sir. Not yet, but yeah, I'm working with those carbon companies. We're implementing the virtual fence, because Gallagher is kind of catching up.
Yeah.
I hope there's no Gallagher guys here, but you are catching up.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I'm starting to work on that stuff. And let's see how it works. Yeah. It's kind of attractive for public land in the US, because, you know, but let's see. Yep. You know, obviously the carbon companies want it because they want to keep an eye that what you say you're doing it. So they are one more user on that database. Yeah. There's good, there's good hope. Sorry, yes?
I wonder about the virtual fencing as far as an animal's own low stress life is, because if an animal doesn't know that it's about to get zapped, it's probably going to stand still, and maybe production's not ideal.
Yeah, we have no idea, and also the other concern is that the disconnection between you and your animals, because we get that feedback every day from our animals, whether we're doing a good job or not. It looks nice, but I don't know, as you said, the well-being of the animal, which is number one for us, is it gonna be there or not? Yeah, I don't really know. So we use those where, for example, there's more forest. Actually, this guy put it in the wrong because it should be facing down. But yeah, people get creative on that stuff. Water. So we talk about water flow rate is kind of the backbone foundation. We already talked about you focusing your investment. No, water is the most costly investment. We usually recommend like 3 times more than whatever you're thinking or using. So we use a combination of different times, because in the water you always have to have plan A and B and C, right? Water doesn't wait. Where right now the project we have at the ranch is replacing the main lines to 3-inch line instead of the 2-inch, and connecting the wells. So instead of having 2 wells, I'm having 4 wells feeding the same system. So it's going to be very difficult for suddenly 4 wells to fail, but I'm kind of getting ready for that. This is the water system. See, for example, I have this system here and this system here, and I'm connecting these 2 systems now with a 3-inch. The tanks are higher ground, are the ones that I'm connecting.
Do you bury the pipes?
Are
they buried in the ground?
Yes, oh yeah, because the problem we have, see, like in Chihuahua, it's very different, the environment. For me, is the hot weather. So it's just like 1.5 feet. But for my friends, like in 2,000 meters, they go like at 1 meter deep. Yeah, they still bury the line. But yeah, they'll go, because they get like a -15, -20. So yeah, they gotta go deep. This is an example, one of our water tanks with a lip on the outside. How do you call this here in? Some has a specific name, right? Yeah. And we have 2 chambers with a floating valve, and we've been buying floating valves from Argentina because they are like Argentinians are really good at getting big flows at a very low PSI. Because all the PSI you have here is just this, and that doesn't mean that the tank is going to be full. This is an example of my troughs. So the water is getting here connected to a 3-inch pipe. So as long as I can provide all the cows that feed here enough, then I'm happy with that. Well, that's the same one. These are made by the Mennonites. They are useful on places that are kind of difficult to reach. So we just move it with the tractor, place them there, and we're ready to go. And different things that people have been doing there, like now these are portable troughs. Just different examples. We ended up not liking this much because it may get stuck during the rains. But we have so many thorns that it's a good off-road stuff. Different examples, the same thing. So what do we learn on a dry spell? So the first thing is you have to have a good water system. Because, for example, if half of your ranch, it may vary, but think about what I'm doing in my context. If half of my ranch rely on dams, and I hit by a drought and the dams are dry, my God, I ended up with half of my ranch. And that's So I have to have water, reliable water, in order to go where I want to go, based on the current needs, and know where the water is taking me. Like, oh, there's no water there, there's water here. We really like the long rest periods for more than one reason. Ongoing selection and culling. Having more forage than what you may need. And after 15 years, I'm still looking for that guy that will tell me, Alejandro, I'm so upset that I put such a big water pipe. I'm so upset that I built such a big tank. I'm so upset that I put a bigger pump than what I needed. I haven't yet not met that guy. But on the other side, oh my God, we all just screwed it up. See, for example, I remember Jesus telling me, oh, Alex, let me share with you a story. I went and then I say, yeah, I'm pumping the water from this bore to that tank. And I just buy a 1.5. I was good enough. Yeah, good. So I went to buy, there were not even solar systems at that point, so you have to buy a regenerator, because in Mexico it's rarely that you get electricity in your ranch. And then I went to ask, and he said to the guy, well, these are my specifications. Oh, that's good. It's going to cost you $17,000. Hey, how about if I got 2-inch? Oh, that would be $7,000. Oh my God, he said. So we talk about this. Put your money where you're going to get more from your bank. Have a strict selection criteria. We have that huge benefit as ranchers. Stop fighting nature. And hang out with like-minded people. That's very important. And that is part of these trainings, that we can actually meet new people. And then, see, you can do one experiment, the other kind of, and then that's how we make much more progress. At least where we live, we keep learning from each other. Even it could be pretty informal, like WhatsApp or something. But it does help a lot. I don't think none of us can do it by ourselves. And that's the end. Yeah, I don't know if you have questions or something. Did I miss anything? No? Well, thank you guys. We still have time? Questions? Yeah. Yeah.
Just a quick one. You mentioned about your weaning process. You're doing self-weaning.
Yes, sir.
So do you find the cows are actually kicking the calves off before the new
Oh, yeah.
arrives?
Yeah. There were few cows, and then more cows and more cows, until I got a point where very few give me problems. If I have, for example, a heifer trying to suck on a cow when it already calved, then I saw them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so are your cows not getting a break from lactation? Do they?
Like what kind of break?
So.
What does break means?
No milk.
So they
Oh, rest.
They lactate.
Are they always having milk, your cows?
Oh, no. But, they dried up, and then, yes.
They'll kick the calf off, dry
exactly.
up, and then before the next one's due.
Oh, yes. And you can notice that right away. It's incredible. It's like if physically you do the weaning, when they kick the calf, boom, they bounce back on body condition.
And roughly what age are the calves when they're doing that? Does it change or?
No, I think they're between 8 and 10 months. Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Do you still do the high intensity grazing while the cows are calving?
I do, sir. I do. Well, the question is if I do the more than talking about in that high density grazing, I talk about the frequency of moves, because you will that density will really depend on what is in front of you, right? Not much you open up, so it's also very variable. Even in the same pasture, next year will be different, could be different, because it did not rain. So, for example, the video that, I don't know what it did not display, but whatever. That video where we have pretty good grasses, maybe we were talking about 250, 300 cows per hectare, but those one of the best ones. But no, we don't stop the movement. We go half a day, half a day, half a day. And the cows keep up. There may be a cow that probably, the very important thing that we need to make it work is to make sure that the cow is well fed every day. Otherwise, the cow will say, oh, well, in nature, the females are more important than the calf. And then she forgot to get back to the calf, and it takes too long, and then the coyotes may eat it. But we saw those cows, but now once we stop deciding for the cows and let the cows decide, like give us that feedback every day or every half a day, that's when we get over those problems. Because you can have all the grass on the world, but if you're moving on time, then they're always going to be hungry and it's not going to work. That's why you really need to see the behavior of your cow, that she's happy, tranquil. They get excited, obviously, when you move them. But that is really a very important point, that put the well-being of the cow first, and then that soil building mode. Yes?
If you're leaving your cows in the calves, how do you stop the young bulls mating the heifers?
No, I don't stop them.
You don't?
No. Because remember, I'm a very low cost producer and I'm happy with the heifers getting pregnant at 2 years old. Yeah. There's a few that get pregnant. I'm not there yet to say, oh, I want to target those ones, And some of them just don't make it because it was a bit too early. Yeah, but no, I mean, they are still there. They never get out of the herd ever again. And it's my context. I need to keep everybody together, otherwise I get predated by the lions. And I have more lions every day, but they go and feed on my neighbors. I'm raising them, and they are feeding them and fighting them as well. Yeah, I know, because this year there was some predation from the lions, and we have no problem. They're going to be going for the easy prey, right? Yes?
Yeah, so what operations do you do in terms of, do you yard animals to tag or castrate, or do you do it in the paddock?
Oh, okay, good point. Remember, we're selecting the bulls, most of the bulls from within. So we actually, on the bull cows that we like, from a good cow and look like a little bull, behave like a little bull, we put a different tag. Probably 3 times more than what we need, because we're going to be actually, when they get closer to a corral, because we have 2 of those main corrals, we don't actually drive the cows to the corral, it's when they are close by, we brand it, we castrate it, the ones that are not going to be, and then also with the horn, and that's pretty much it.
So you tag them when they're born on the ground in the paddock?
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah. I mean, because, in Mexico we have a unique ID, so you have to have a vet during branding, but during calving, yeah, we calve with our own tag, and then we wait for the branding to get the vet, and then tag that unique ID. So my cows have the unique ID from Mexico, plus the ranch ID. Did I answer your question? Or no? What did I skip?
No, that's all right. So your hands are catching calves when they're born?
Yeah, they rope it. Exactly. But it's really sometimes even almost unnecessary, because they're just like 1 or 2 days. They are actually tagging every day. Yeah.
So how many hands do you have for your property?
I have the foreman, the cowboy, and that's for the cows, and the shepherd for the sheep. The shepherd is pretty expensive, but yeah, I have it. No, I have 3. Because holidays, yeah, you need someone to stay there, and there's also holidays for the cows. Because if we know we need to do something, then we just open up, and then we leave 3-4 days for feed, and then we do something, or maybe someone is leaving. So we always build in that. I mean, we're flexible. We're just not like, we were like very like exactly regimental, and we just don't care anymore. But things are working though. Yeah. Anyone else? Yeah.
Regeneration in the soil, you started by talking about tilling. So for when you're not tilling and you're not mechanically opening up the soil, is it you do nothing? Is that the answer?
Well, I don't till, but probably I'm not clear on your.
For soils that have had compaction
Oh,
or
yes.
hugging from animals in the past.
Yeah. No. I never till.
You just do nothing to that and leave it.
Just I bring the biology of the cow, animal impact. Yeah, that is my solution. That's probably like my only tool, because I have seen incredible things. Even like I told you, the gullies, the creeks, Even my dad built this. When you actually build this, I don't know how you call that. That you deviate the water, you put the water in another place, like contour.
Contour banks,
Yeah. We used to have those ones, but then when we started growing grass, water was going all over the place, but where it's supposed. So I started getting rid of them. And also I noticed that where I was actually putting a lot of water that was not, it really never created the diversity that I want. But maybe they were not really well done, but I don't really need them anymore. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, sorry.
With in South Australia, there's a lot of problems with salinity in dry land and also wetlands in the country. Have you seen your principles regenerating or resurrecting saline?
I think I'm missing a little bit. What?
Salty.
Oh, salty.
Salty lands.
Oh, yeah, it's the same principle. It's actually, in more context, the more degraded the land, the more salty it becomes. But it's actually the biology that brings the cow, and eventually the microbiology that start encapsulating those salts. And you're gonna see a big change on the plant community, because the plant community that grows on salty soils is all alkaline stuff, like alkaline this, alkaline that. And now you're gonna start seeing a big succession from this alkaline stuff to a more palatable, better. But yeah, we can solve that issue as well with livestock. Yeah, I have seen that. Yes.
So we have very wet areas and way too waterlogged, and we don't have compaction issues so much as waterlogging issues. And it's very hard to use animal impact in an area like that because you just don't have this puddle of mud. Any suggestions?
Yeah, I think we have that same problem. For example, when you go to Colombia, Venezuela, and we try to work first, like we don't go into the worst of the worst, like right in the middle. It's the same principle. We started working on the edges with the cows, and then you're going to start infiltrating more water until it will get a point that you will not have such a much standing water. Mm-hmm. But you don't go like trying to fix the big problem. You're just working on the edges first, and then slowly getting up to the point where you don't have such much standing water. Yeah. Well, sorry, let me get that one.
I was just going to ask about other sort of herbivores in the area that aren't your managed livestock. Do you have, you've got mountain lions obviously eating things, but in the Adelaide Hills we have a lot of feral deer and kangaroos that move into places we're trying to rest.
Yeah, we have a bit of a problem with, in the area, not my ranch, with the feral pigs. They are kind of getting out of control. I mean, no predation, nobody predates. Only I think the black bears, but they are not like only in certain parts of Chihuahua. Yeah, but in my place, I was very fortunate because you got that prey growing, those grazers, and then also the predators growing. That's what I don't really fight the predators. yeah, but well, I cannot help you because I don't have that particular issue like here. I mean, here probably you have way less predators than I do. I have bobcats, I have mountain lions, I have coyotes. I have now the wolf, they reintroduced the wolf. I have jaguars. So we have that all that. We really don't really mind about having a bunch of deer. Well, in the US, they have a lot of problems with the elk. And the elk is probably even worse than the roos because the elk, let's say that, well, it could be similar. Let's say that you have your property and then you're managing property well and you're the only spot green and suddenly you have 400 elk jumping into the fence and boom, gone. And then these guys call the wildlife of the state and they get the average. Oh, no, you're okay. We cannot increase because also it brings the opportunity for hunting. In the US, hunting is big thing and it's big money, but they are trying to increase the hunting, but they are trying to get the average of the region, which is pretty low. So they still have that problem. No exclusion fences there. So but yeah. So I don't want to get deeper into that, but yeah. Sorry. Yes.
Thank you. You're the first speaker I've heard that's actually addressed the problem of soil compaction. I've calculated on my property just by looking at bedrock that's growing out of my soil. Bedrock doesn't grow, we know that. The soil actually shrinks. I've calculated from that I've lost 2,000 cubic metres of soil per hectare. Didn't blow away, didn't wash away, it's just shrunk. That means in some of my paddocks, it's gone to mud, it just won't drain, so the water just sits there and becomes a bog. It's anaerobic, it becomes toxic, grass won't even grow there. And it's just one big problem we've got, we don't seem to address probably.
Oh, you're asking me how to address that? Or?
Well, I won't go to that now, I have found a way, but that's a long story.
Yeah. No, I mean...
Oh, you can address it.
Well, we will apply the same principles, like not going exactly what the problem is. It's like, for example, prairie dogs in the US. Big fight with prairie dogs. Where are the prairie dogs in the most degraded land? What are they doing? Killing the prairie dogs. So I think you can actually, work on the areas that are really... See, I think our philosophy is protect what you still have good. That is the first thing. Can you protect what is good? Okay, let's protect that. And then eventually, we're going to start growing to the worst, which are the ones that... See, we're very focused on, that area has a problem. Okay, let's hold on there, improve what you already have decently, and then go from there to the worst areas, flooded areas, bare ground areas, very encroached areas. Yeah, you can actually do like a different experiment, which we call inclusion zones. Probably you have done it, where let's say there's a corner of a paddock, and then you just create like a pen with the polywire, put your cows for a couple of hours, leave it. You can even put hay and then see what the result. Or we have used that where we have an encroachment, for example, certain cactus, and then we actually also put polywire, put the cows there. I'm not saying that the cows will step over, but even just by growing grass, the cactus are really very weak on dealing with grasses. But yeah, I think let's first protect what we still have working or decently working, and then we move from there. Yeah. Anyone else? It's been a bunch of information, right?
Yes.
Overflown. Oh, yeah.
But it's not coming up.
Oh, it's not coming. Well, who have seen or watched Kiss the Ground?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Pretty good. So the ones that haven't seen it, I would strongly recommend you to sing Kiss the Ground. And also it's coming. Oh, okay. It's coming. No, only the noise. So, and then Common Ground is coming this fall, and it's going to be a really good, it's like the sequel of Kiss the Ground, but it's more focused on what we do. It's more focused on ranching and farming. You can actually organize like a screening in your towns or if there's a theater that is open to. You get into the Common Ground web page, and then you can actually ask to get a screening before it goes to Netflix. Mhm. No? Okay, sounds good. Then, well, we got the message.
Thank you, Alejandro, and maybe we can all put our hands together one more time.